Welcome back to the Entrepreneurs Forum podcast. Today, I have an absolutely amazing guest with us, and I am so excited for you all to hear from him. His name is Steven Eugene Kuhn, and he is a global business strategist. I feel like a number of you probably know about him already. He's the co-author of Unleash Your Humble Alpha, which is a great book known for helping organizations, and he's also known for helping organizations scale through his principles that he lives by, which I'm going to let him share all about it. And he is also a phenomenal speaker and just a great man to know. So without further ado, Steven, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to spend time with us.
Hey, my absolute pleasure. Always an honor.
Definitely. And I know that you are not currently in the US.
No, I am in Turkey, in a town called Antalya. Right now, if I could turn my camera around, you'd see the Mediterranean. It's right in front of me, like 100 meters in front of me. And this is where we live now for the last 3.5 years. Absolutely beautiful, family safe, the whole works. It's the full package.
I love that. You showed me when we spoke last time, and it truly is stunning, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Especially right now, the sun's shining, the mountains are in the background, nice and clear.
That sounds beautiful.
It is.
So I know you live by a set of core principles.
Yeah.
Would you be so kind to share
Sure.
them with us? I think they're stunning.
Now, I've been teaching these for, over 20 years, probably 25 years now. And I started when I was in the corporate world because what struck me was that people were so worried about getting promoted or doing the right thing for the boss that a lot of times they would look past their morals and principles. And so I came up with something on how to be a proper leader, which I always lived by anyway, but I never put a structure to it. And it's called HIT. And I had a nickname for a while called the Hitman. And HIT stands for honesty, and I mean I like the nickname. I'm not gonna lie, but it stands for honesty, integrity, and transparency. And the honesty is honesty with yourself and why you do say and think like you do. Transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and it's your ongoing reputation. The byproduct is integrity. Integrity makes you authentic. It allows you to dictate your market value. And integrity is real simple. It's 3 things. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't do what you say you're not going to do. And if you mess up, apologize and make it better. That's integrity. And that takes practice because you have to be honest with yourself. When someone comes into a room, when you're in a meeting, when you see somebody and you get a feeling that you don't like them or something's off, that has to do with you. That has nothing to do with them. And that honesty, to be able to admit that and dig deep and find out what that is and then corrugate it or rectify it, it takes hard work. But once you get to that point, it doesn't even matter what you're saying anymore because people know what you're saying is truth and they know it's full of integrity and they know they can trust you. And that's what I've built a business on over these years. And that's why I've been able to do what I've been able to do all these years.
I love that. And especially because when you mentioned honesty, you have an amazing amount of honesty with yourself. And even in learning how to be honest with yourself, and that self-reflection I know it was incredibly powerful for me to really start to look at the own thoughts that I was having and who were they? And then could I be honest enough with myself to say the things about myself that made me uncomfortable?
Well, it's our, thoughts become things. So if you don't watch your thoughts, they're going to become things in your life. Number one. Number two is we're programmed from childhood. I mean, I think everyone knows that. Everyone's heard of it, but they don't really think about it. Right? We're literally programmed from childhood, and we carry this baggage even from our parents with us, and we revert to that when we're in danger, fight or flight, so to say. Right? So we go back to that what we're used to or what's programmed into us, and that's typically destructive for adults, like children. So, and then there's also a saying I like to say is, if it's out there. If something bothers you, if it's out there, it means it's in here.
Yeah.
So anytime that something bothers you, whether it's something someone says, or it's someone who's standing there, you know how it is. Like guys walk into a bar together and they walk in and there's like a good-looking guy sitting with 3 girls. They go, oh, bad Fruit Loop or whatever. Like immediately the guys are like, look at that guy, what a loser, right? Yeah. Because they're insecure. They're like, who's this guy? He's threatening my masculinity. Ask yourself why. Why do you feel that about this guy? Lucky guy, right? Lucky guy. So these are the questions you got to ask yourself on a daily basis, even in relationships when you're talking to your wife or your husband and something triggers you. Like, why is that triggering me?
Very
And
much so.
it takes a powerful partner to understand that you're in this process for the rest of your life. And you say, look, I'm triggered when this happens because of what happened to me then and then. And this is how I want to work with it. And this is how I want to work through it the next time it happens. And they got to be on board. Otherwise, it's going to be a heck of a ride.
Very much so. I love that you pointed that out because it really is not just about you, but it's also the people who you surround yourself with. And I think of you and I both as being a lot like detectives because we look for the loops. We are okay with looking in the
Yeah.
mirror at ourselves and going, okay, now let me go back and figure it out. And I know your specialty is helping people in loops and getting out of those loops.
Yeah.
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 And not just
Well,
with people.
when you start asking questions to someone, they answer and they answer and they answer. After about probably 5 to 10 questions, you start hearing sort of the same version a different version of the same loop.
Yeah.
And then you can say, this is what I've heard. I've heard so far, I can't do this. I can't do that. I've always been this way. I've always been that way. Why do you think that? And if you think that, that's what's going to be. And
Hmm.
it sounds hokey. It sounds, whatever, manifestation, all this kind of stuff, the secret and all those kind of things. People are saturated with that stuff. So it's hard to grasp something that really works for you. And what I found is um, simply having something really simple about who you are, your identity. And in our book, in the first chapter, Unleash Your Humble Self,
Hmm.
we
Amazing
go
book.
into the identity, which is what you do as well. And
Yeah.
you come up with the two-word moniker. And the two-word moniker describes who you are. When you ask somebody, hey, who are you? They go, I'm the
Mhm.
CEO, or I'm a mother, or I'm a brother. No, that's what you do, and that's your position in life. That's nothing to do with who you are.
Yeah.
And once you realize who you are, at least this two-word moniker, you also come with a vision. Identity statement. But the two-word moniker gives you one thing. It gives you a direction. And I'll never forget when I did the exercise myself years and years ago. I came up with the word powerful connector. And I said, wow, okay, the moniker, powerful connector. I said, well, okay. And so what I did was I focused only on connecting people and everything else I cut off. So I either delegated it or I assigned it to somebody else or I just didn't do it. Right.
Yeah.
Because through that process, I came up with my sort of own way of living. And that is three things: receive what's in front of you,
Love that.
decide what to do with it, and let everything else go that doesn't serve you.
I
So
love
anytime
that.
I have a situation, whether it's an argument with a person or a discussion with my wife or a business opportunity, receive what's in front of me, decide what to do with it or parts of it, and let anything else go that doesn't serve you. And I mean let it go
Yeah.
completely. And what happens is your life becomes so easy and crystal clear. So okay, if you can imagine living like that, you know, receive, decide, let go, and then honesty, integrity, and transparency. Those two models right there,
Very much.
they take care of about 50 to 60% of your entire life, like that.
I love that. And that goes hand in hand with your other one, intention versus outcome.
There we go. Look at that. Creating space, showing up wholly and fully for the people, the persons in front of you with no preconceived notions or cookie cutter solutions and no
Yeah.
expectation of a specific outcome. The only thing that you can focus on is the one thing that you can control in your life, and that's your intention of adding
Yes.
value by solving problems. So if you try to focus on the outcome, you create leverage. Either they have it or you don't have it, right? So they have it or you have it. And so if you don't focus on the outcome, if you don't go into a meeting with a preconceived notion, this is how it's got to be, you're going to create things you've never created before because the two of you together, Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind, the third party,
Hmm.
the thing, that's what actually happens. And I've seen it happen 100 times. I go into meetings all the time. Aren't you nervous? No. Why not? Don't you want? No, I really don't care what happens because I know
Yeah.
whatever happens is going to be amazing either way. If it does work, if it doesn't work. Talking to my wife last night, and we're going through something right now, and there was something that came up that scared her, and I said, "Baby, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't program anything into the ether. Just know it will be all right, no matter what happens. That's what's supposed to happen." And it
Yeah.
sounds easy. It sounds passe. It's not. It's not easy for people who worry. But we woke up this morning, we got the news, everything's fine. And she said, I can't
Yeah.
believe it. It actually worked. I said, yeah, there you go. We make our lives so difficult by thinking too much, by falling back on the programming that we have in our life. And this is coming from a guy, right? This is coming from a guy who's a businessman and in politics. So
Yeah.
you can imagine when I'm speaking to business owners, when I'm speaking to large corporations, when I'm speaking to politicians, this is how I talk. So they think like, who the hell is this guy? But that is also why I've worked with Mick Jagger, Olivia Newton-John, Andrea Bocelli, European Parliament, British Parliament, Croatian Parliament, German Parliament, co-founder of the most popular party in Germany right now in 2003. Matter of fact, my partner and her husband are in the White House in this very moment talking to Congress. Jim, whatever his name is, the head of Congress, the main guy. Um, uh, that's something that I created through living this way. And I'm just a normal guy who grew up in a mobile home in Pennsylvania, joined the army, spent 7 years in the military in Europe, went to Iraq, came back to Europe, got out and stayed. And so I haven't been home living in America except for a 9 month stint in Chicago for a corporation since 1986. This is my 10th
Imagine
country, my 10th country I've lived in, and I've excelled in all of those countries. It doesn't matter what country I go to, I find a way to excel.
Yeah.
Why? Intention of adding value by solving problems. That's
Really?
life. So add value by solving problems. So, we have receive, decide, let go. We have hit, we have creating space. That's it. That's life right there.
Very much so. I love how you've taken something and broken it into such an easy way to understand it. It's very digestible. And I know it didn't just click for you overnight.
Oh no, first of all, it took years to even know what I was doing. But what it really took was, so there's my co-author Lane, right?
Yeah.
He was like a mentee, and then he was a partner. So
Yeah.
we really hit it off. And he kept asking me, dude, how did you work for like Mick Jagger, and how did you like spend 30 minutes with Bill Clinton? I said, I don't know. I just walked up to him. He goes, no, man, there was something. What was it?
Yeah.
I have no idea. So he said, why don't we research it? Write about it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So it took about a year of research, and I got a professional journalist in the target group of men leaders and said, interview me and just
Oh,
go all in. And we did about 25 to 30 hours of interviews. Because what happens is when you're talking about something, memories start popping, and you're like, oh, this one, oh yeah, and then next thing you know, you have an entire palette in front of you of what your life was, the peaks, the valleys, what worked, what didn't, what were the loops,
yeah.
the good and the bads, right?
Hmm.
And that's how, when we constructed that, we came up with the book and said, okay, there's 5 sections, 5 models to live by, and at the end, and one thing that always bugged me about books, self-help books, and Think and Grow Rich is one of them. Is there's no action steps. You have to take a highlighter and little tabs, and you got to like highlight. And then when you want to go back, you're like, what page was that on? And you have all these tabs sticking out.
Yep.
Not with us,
Say
right?
nope.
At the end of
Totally.
every chapter,
Yeah.
there are steps, action steps, exactly what to take to get to that
Mhm.
point of which we've talked about in the book. So there's coaches out there that use the book as it is. There's
Aw.
universities, thanks to Julie
I was
Duchamp,
going to mention that. It's in a
yeah,
curriculum.
yeah, that's thanks to Julie Duchamp, who I also
Yeah.
brought into Bellwether. She turned it into a college accredited program.
I
So
love
there's a
that.
course, and the
Yeah.
book is taken into in the curriculum of several universities. And I know last time I heard it, Harvard and Stanford were looking at it, which would be amazing, but they didn't want to pay. And I'm like, I don't care. Just slap the name Harvard on the front cover helps a little bit, right? But
That's amazing.
I don't really care about that stuff. If I did, I'd push it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never pushed anything. I've always received. I've
Yeah.
decided what to do with a little bit or a piece of it or all of it, and then I let everything else go. I never hang on to something just in case.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
happens? Because it's baggage, it's luggage, it's distraction, right?
Yeah.
Either you focus on what you have,
That and it's
you
lack.
go all in, and
Yeah.
that's how you achieve. It really is.
Yeah. Very much so. I love that. I feel like that the journalist that spent time with you, what a beautiful canvas.
Yes. I
Wow.
cried, I yelled, I got pissed off, I hung
Oh,
up.
for sure.
Late, I shut down the Zoom, and she's like, "No, no, what were you going to say? You just you flick your eyes flickered. What were you going to say?" I'm like, "No, no," and go. And I went naked into that
Yeah.
book. I told everything.
Yeah.
And when some people read it, they're like, "Did that really happen? Is this really what happened? Is this real? Is this
Yeah.
true?" Yeah. And they're like, "Holy shit!" Like
Yeah.
wow, like yeah. And so my whole life has been trial and error, fire and ice. I lived, like I said, I lived in 10 countries, worked in all these parliaments, worked for celebrities, dated royals, went all the way. You name it, I did it. It's crazy if I think
Yeah.
about it. I always wondered to myself, why? Why didn't I stick with one thing and make it happen? Well,
Mhm.
I apparently to become a well-rounded man. And so when I stand here right now,
That's
there's
great.
nothing you can talk to me about. that I don't know somebody who knows somebody, right? And right now in my political career, it's paying off in droves because
Yeah.
these well-known political people turn to me for advice
Yeah.
because I've been able to, I guess, let go of the programming and look at things for what they really are
Yeah.
and not strategize, but receive, right?
Hmm.
And feel and say, okay, what's the frequency here? The frequency in America right now, for instance, after Charlie Kirk, is at an all-time high
Yeah.
with sort of like the middle America. The
Oh
people
yeah.
on the left and not on the right, the people in the middle, which is the majority. It's
Hmm.
at a very high frequency. So I'm pouring into that right now
Yeah.
with my daily video.
Yeah. I love that you also, and I think this is something, especially for the self-help world, and I love that you mentioned the secret. I affectionately refer to that as the infomercial of
Yeah.
personal growth. No refunds, no warranties, just
Yeah.
very shiny and pretend that you can visualize
Yeah.
stuff. Whereas a lot in the personal growth world, they'll talk about certain things, but they won't explain the process. And when it
Secret.
comes to the ultimate secret, when it comes to your identity, how you shift your identity. And I am so extraordinarily passionate about helping people shift their identity because that's where the gold is. That's where the change is. That's where everything that you
Yeah.
want is.
I think for
And
me,
it's
it's always
focusing
about
inside.
finding the identity. Like for
Ooh,
me,
that's a
it's
good
about
one.
I think I do a step different, a little bit differently than you, but it's basically comes out to the same thing.
Hmm.
Like, who are you in the first place? I had a guy, he spent 35 years in the military, read the book. He said, dude, I've been working on the first chapter for 3 months.
Oh,
He said, I can't get out of the military mindset.
yeah.
He goes, I know I'm not a soldier anymore, but I can't get out of it. So I really helped him go through that. And he broke through. And this guy, I mean, I was even doing it with a general, a Marine Corps general. Like I was helping him find his, yeah, it's crazy. Because these guys, that's all. And you see it all the time. Jocko
Yeah.
Willink, you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and kill your enemy. Dude, you haven't been in the military for 15 years. Relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't need to be that way. You know what I mean? But
Definitely lots of different. Yeah.
machoism, and that hardcore, tattoo sleeve, big long beard, Paul cap wearing tough guy,
Hmm.
that sells well in America.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because that's not truth. There are guys like that,
Hmm.
of course there are, but that's not who they are.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Absolutely.
If you look like everybody else, you're not true to yourself.
Yeah.
So if you look at veterans, a lot of veterans, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
veteran. If you look at veterans, there's a lot of them that do the same thing: the sleeve, the large beard,
Hmm.
the shirts, right? They almost all
Hmm.
look the same in a certain group. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you
Hmm.
want to be who you are and come to the place of your true potential, you have to find out who you are.
Very
You
much so.
must. It's imperative. It's mandatory
Yeah.
to find out who you are. And I can tell you this, you've never felt freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, you do, but
Yeah.
someone watching who doesn't know who they are, you've never felt freedom like you feel when you know who you are.
Oh my
Because
gosh. I
it doesn't
couldn't.
matter. Nothing matters. No one can mess with you. No one can divert you. No one can distract you. No one can manipulate you. Propaganda bounces off you like Teflon.
You could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's also really important to that people recognize that this is an internal job,
Oh, yeah.
that this is spending time and spending time inside. And I'm somebody who is a huge supporter of write stuff down, get a
Yep.
pen, get a paper, write it down. And even the journalists who spend time with you, I feel like that was a huge process for you going through your own stuff yet again. And it
Oh, it
really
was. And it was
becomes
important because
more
you forget
appealing.
things. You forget things. I
Yeah.
was talking to a guy today. I met him at the barber shop. Got a fresh haircut, I think.
Huh.
And he was British. I said, "Oh, what are you doing here? You're in Turkey." We started talking, and he would start talking. I said, "Oh, I was there. I was in the UK, and all these memories came back that I had totally forgotten about."
Yeah.
And that's why it's important you have dialogue with people that aren't your friends because they're going to ask questions. Exactly, they're going to ask questions. That's why coaches are so important
Yes.
because they're not your friend. They're going to ask you questions that might hurt, that will dig so deep that you forgot about what you're about to say.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how many times, even through the entire process of those 30 hours, whatever it was,
Yeah.
took that manuscript or that transcript of all those, and we had
Yeah.
an editor make it into a book.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then at the end, they said, we need a front, we need a preface, we need something to start with. Is there any
Yeah.
other stories that you forgot? I'm like, I don't think so. You pulled everything out of me. It was like turning on a faucet, right? And then we were thinking and talking. And she said, did anything happen in Iraq? And I said, well, there was this little girl that I met.
Mm.
And that is the most powerful story in the book. And it
Mm.
only came after she pushed me to
Another
go
level.
deeper, right?
Yeah.
Well, after 30 hours of interviews, I had never mentioned that before. And that to this day is the key story in anything that I do on any
Oh,
stage.
wow. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. When you're, so I know you work with people individually and then also with businesses. What is that like to help them navigate their identity, especially with what you mentioned just recently with the heartbreaking situation with Charlie Kirk and the people that are reaching out to you? How do you walk them through that type of
Well,
process?
this is so I do it a little differently. I don't coach in traditional forms, right? I raise
Hmm.
funds for companies that want to grow and scale or want to acquire other companies. So far this year, since December 2025 or 2024 until now, it's about $2.7 billion that I've raised, right? So, committed capital from my
Yeah.
living room here in Antalya, right?
Mhm.
And those are the owners that I work with,
Yeah.
right? Occasionally I'll get other people. I don't ask for it, but it's just as interesting what happened. I started doing these videos, these political videos,
Yes.
um, 205 days ago. So I did my 205th video today. And I've attracted more clients through just people watching those videos.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't say anything about business, raising money. No, I talk about politics
Yes.
and the way that we need as Americans to think, to repair our country, to fix our country, to take our country
Yeah.
back. And in a way that's, I don't want to say neutral, but sort of middle of the road,
Hmm.
pulling out the left and the right if it's bad. It doesn't matter. If it's good,
Yeah.
I'll pull it out too, right? And more people, and I mean like high net worth people, like, look,
Yeah.
I like the way you talk. I like your principles and stuff. What do you do? Can we work together?
Hmm.
I'm landing like massive clients like that, even though I'm not selling, I'm not talking about
Hmm.
business, I'm talking about politics. So
Yeah.
what does that tell you? It's one thing, frequency.
Very accurate.
People want to be at a higher frequency. And then when they see someone at a higher frequency, I'm not saying I'm at this high frequency. I'm just saying I have a frequency that's very
Very
specific.
much so. Yes.
And so they're attracted to that. Like, how do I get a piece of that?
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
and in their mind, it's subconscious. In their mind, they're like, well, I mean, maybe I need to work with them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's incredible how uh, knowing who you are, speaking from a core set of principles and
Yeah.
value, right? And living a life of honesty, integrity, and transparency attracts everything you ever wanted in life without even trying
Very much so.
because
Yeah.
you are the version of you that you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And here's something that blew me away when I heard it. There's a book called Reality Transurfing. I don't know if you ever heard of it. If you
Oh,
haven't, read it. You got it? Oh, there we go. Yeah,
right there.
Vadim Zeland. Yeah, I
It's
read that
amazing.
100 times. Yeah,
Oh,
but something that
phenomenal.
in that book, but it reminded me of what he said in that book. He said every single person on the planet is already who they're supposed to be, but they're covered in layers. Our job as humans,
Mhm.
need to peel off those layers and uncover who we already are.
Very
So,
much so.
like, I need to change, right? I need to become that person over there. No, you already are.
Yeah.
Uncover. Who are you inside? Outside, you're the veteran. Peel that off. Your father. Peel it off. Your brother. Peel it
Yeah.
off. It's like that.
So
So
much. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's incredible. I as I get older, I'm almost 60. As I get older, I feel like I'm losing the ability to articulate sometimes because I'm so in that receive, decide, let go.
Yeah.
I don't focus on the dialogue much. I focus
Hmm.
on frequency. So sometimes
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking, right? So bear with me if I'm like sort of rambling a little bit.
What's funny is I actually was following you perfectly clearly. So
Okay, good, good.
I'm following your frequency very, very much
Hmm.
so.
Good, good.
And with regard to your videos, you do such a beautiful job of sharing the way that you do and being neutral about it, but also you have a very clear precision of showing the layers
Yeah,
and saying, okay, this is what's going on, this is what we need to see also, and revealing, just as you do with yourself, you reveal things in such a very strategic
yeah.
way that it clicks with people and they're going, something he's saying is really resonating. How can I reach out to him?
I know people
Absolutely.
people write a comment all the time. They're like, I don't agree with anything you're saying, but man, how you're saying it
I've seen
it forces me to watch you. You know,
that.
or some people say, I never agreed with conservatives, but man, you make so much sense.
Yeah,
And what it
absolutely.
is, again, it's a frequency. Like, look, I'm going to put something out there. I'm going to make it so easy for you to understand that it's like a void. You can choose to fall into it, or you can choose to look at it, or you can walk around it, whatever you want to do. It's your choice. It's like
Yeah.
a lighthouse. So if there's a lighthouse, it puts out a beam of light. That beam of light has no purpose except for to warn you. You can heed that warning. You can ignore that warning. You can not even see it. You might see it. You might not see it. There's
Hmm.
there's no action,
Yeah.
proactivity from that beam of light. That's sort of how I look at my messages. Here's a beam of light. Do with it what you will. And
Yeah.
of course, the intention behind it, because remember, that's all we control in our
Hmm.
lives. The intention behind it is to add value by solving problems. And that's the intention behind it. So that's what comes through. And when people who are from all sides of the spectrum write me all the time, like, wow, like, how, and it's nothing special. I'm not a talented speaker, nothing. It's because I have clarity and certainty in my abilities.
Perfect.
There's certainties in my abilities. And if you want
Yes.
the secret to life, this is it. When you're 100% certain of your abilities and how to deploy your genius and your talents in any given situation, you're king. That's
That
it.
is a beautiful way of saying that.
And it starts with identity.
Absolutely.
Identity, purpose, certainty.
I love that. That is beautiful. I feel like you need to put that on a t-shirt. Wear that around. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, ball cap, or I could replace MAGA with something else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. It was an absolute honor spending time with you. Thank you so much for all that you shared. If people want to reach out to you, what would be the best way? I know we'll have it in the show notes, but also just in case, what's the best way to reach you?
I would say just go on Instagram. I actually no, don't, because I have like 300,000 followers now. I can't even keep up. Probably my email, which is,
We'll
Steven
put a
at
template.
Humble Alpha, Steven at humblealpha.com. Probably the best way to
There
do
we
it.
go. Perfect. Awesome.
But you can check me out on Instagram at Steven Eugene Kuhn or TikTok, which I hate. Also Steven Eugene Kuhn. There's about 60 fake profiles, so it's the one with the most followers, about 370,000.
Oh, nice. That
Yeah.
is phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing the way that you do and the beautiful intentions and all that you're being in the world.
Thank you so much, Lenora. Appreciate it.
So, stay well. Thank you to our listeners, and we will see you on the next one.